Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donahue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy. Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donahue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. Whoo, Daddy, we got us, or should I say, who did it? We have us quite a creep today.
Yeah.
If you're new to the show, just so you know, we always end the show with someone who's not a creep. That's
Correct.
the first thing. Second thing, if you're new to the show, I'm just saying now, I'm not going to talk about Biggie and Tupac. I just don't need that crap in my life. I'm not a police officer. No. I'm not,
This Diddy's enough. We don't need this.
That's a whole other story.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated by it. I'm from Brooklyn. Yes. I know all the, but we're not doing that. So if that's all you came for, thank you for your service. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Check out the titles. Maybe there's another show that'll strike your fancy. Mm-hmm. All right, kids. Yes. We are talking about P. Diddy today. But first, let me just tell you, we do have a basic Facebook page, but that's where people go to complain about our language. We use salty language in this show. And also, it gets intense. This is going to be one of the more intense episodes. So maybe not listen to it out loud with the kids in the car or something.
Yeah, fucking deal with it.
We have a private Facebook group, and that's where Sonia and I are the most interactive. So just look for What a Creep podcast group. You have to answer a few questions in order to join. And come on in. And it just basically be nice and be cool with everybody else. And we do talk about pop culture and all kinds of things.
Yeah. We're the best group on Facebook.
It is the best group on Facebook. It's the only place Sonia goes to hang out.
Correct.
Look at her messages one time. She don't go there.
No, I don't. Facebook? Who dis? Like, who dis? No, I only go for the Facebook group.
We're on Twitter at CreepPod. Yes, we did dead name it just now because somebody had What a Creep on Twitter for 10 years and then never used it.
Creep.
We also are on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's a thing.
All those things we are on with at What a Creep Podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can send us suggestions for creeps and for non-creeps. Or if you would like some stickers, send us your address to our email. That's the best place to do it. And I will drop in the mail for you because sometimes people She'll do it. Sometimes I get messages on Instagram or something and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then I forget. So that's actually kind of the best place to do it. And we won't bug you. We won't spam you with any nonsense. Trust us.
No. We don't do that.
That's not how we roll. Sonia, do you want to tell them about the website?
Yeah, go to whatacreeppodcast.com and it's everything you ever wanted to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. You shouldn't be afraid to ask.
We're not
Each of those No, we're not. Each of those blog posts has a list of our sources. If you want to do a deeper dive on any of our creeps, that's a great place to start. We want to give credit to the people that did all the work. We're not making this stuff up. Mm-hmm. Go there, click on the links. There's also a link to our Substack, which I put out a monthly newsletter, and I will do it this weekend because I've got things to say. We also have a link to our merch shop where you can get t-shirts and tote bags and face masks and all the good things with our logo and our random other designs that I've put in there. And there's a link to our Patreon. You want to tell them about that, Margot?
Yes, Patreon. You look up What a Creep Podcast. We have our first 8 seasons up there for y'all to listen to. Plus, Sonia and I put out 2 bonus episodes a month. And think about like hot topics on The View or the show Fixing Famous People or other shows where they go through a bunch of topics. That's what Sonia and I do in the bonus episodes.
Yeah,
and
it's super fun.
I said we called our last one Reality Reckoning because we were talking about a lot of reality TV there. Yeah. But we talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
All right. Did I forget anything? Oh, nope, that's it. I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it.
All right. I'm leading, aren't I, this week?
You are leading this week. Ain't nobody gonna hold us down.
Oh, no. we're talking about Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, Puffy, Love. He's gone by all those names. He was born Sean John Combs in New York City. He's from Harlem, and it's November 4th, 1969. That's a Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
I have a Scorpio moon. Yeah, they're pretty intense. His occupations, we'll start that and then we'll go through the sources. Rapper, songwriter, record producer, record executive, entrepreneur, actor, television producer, and fashion mogul. This guy does a lot.
What name is he going by now? Is it Diddy?
Love.
He's going by Love right now?
Sean Love Combs. Yeah.
I refuse to call him that.
Oh, fuck him. No.
Can I call him Diddy?
You call him whatever the hell you want.
Cool.
Just
that
don't
asshole.
call him late for dinner. He's an asshole. We will get into all of this, but he's been in the news quite a bit lately. I was telling Sonia last week a story. In '99, I started working at a job at a PR agency, a really big one, and it was between Christmas and New Year's, and nobody was there. And I showed up. That was my first week, and all the big bosses were leaving at the same time, like 9 a.m. I'm like, "What the hell is everybody going?" And like, "Oh, Diddy and Lopez just shot up a place last night, and we have to go downtown to bail them out or whatever." Yes, so I've been aware of his, and then I used to get the faxes from Johnny Cochran's law office when he went to trial for this. So it's pretty intense. So I've always known about him.
Yes.
But, there are a lot of moguls who are assholes. We just don't know what their assholery is. And we just used to put, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, it was a lot of like, he's difficult, or he's got a high sex drive, or this one's demanding.
He's problematic.
Problematic. He could probably use some anger management or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, and I think we should mention too that you could not get away from P. Diddy at his height. We were talking about this right before we started recording. Mm-hmm. He was MTV. Like every time I turned on MTV, there was a video that had P. Diddy in it. Every single video had P. Diddy in it.
Well, he had his own record company, and he had it in the contracts for everybody that signed with his record company that he had to be featured on all of their hit records. Not only if he couldn't sing and he can't sing, he had to speak, and he had to be in the video. We're going to talk about the music business and his practices. I want to also say that he was given the Lifetime Achievement Award from BET, and Mayor Eric Adams, who's a real shithead. I live in New York. Yeah. We don't like him. He gave him the key to New York City. I didn't know we were locked up here. What the fuck is this guy going to do?
I don't want that guy having a key to the city. I don't want him having a key to my fucking car or apartment.
He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He has 1 million Grammy Awards, BET Awards, Rolling Stone's greatest albums of all time, MTV Video Music Awards, MTV Europe Music Awards. This guy, this motherfucker, he's done it all. He's very, very, very successful, very hardworking. He's super smart. This guy, I know he has like that slack-jawed kind of appearance, and it makes you think like maybe he's not too bright. This guy's fucking smart.
Yeah.
He knows, but there's some, I'm going to say it, there's some evil going on here. He's Grammy Awards. He was the producer for Making the Band. If you like Danity Kane, I wasn't a fan, but a lot of people were.
Yeah.
But last Christmas. Actually, it was November.
Gave you my heart.
November 16th. His former partner, Cassandra Ventura, they were together for a long time, and she sued him for sexual assault, rape, domestic violence, and this sort of and then the very next day, he settled. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times...
That was the biggest red flag.
And it's like, and I'll tell you once again, Friday afternoon news dumps... Yeah, red flag on the play. So I'm waving a red flag.
I'm waving my red flag.
And I was like, and I think I even told you, like, there's going to be so much going on here. Mm-hmm. So let's get into it. This is how we do the show. Sean Diddy Combs has a notorious career as a singer, songwriter, music mogul, rapper, actor, and clothing designer. He has been trying to rebrand himself as Brother Love after years of rumors of bad behavior. Naughty, naughty. This is going to be a tough one, y'all.
Yeah.
Just trigger warnings or basic warnings, once again, especially if somebody's sensitive around you or if you take care of you.
Yes.
There's talk about, and we're not going to, don't get too much into the details, by the way. Okay. Rape, sexual assault, sex trafficking, drug use, drug abuse, and a history of violence that's associated with this man. So, please take care of yourself as you listen.
Yes.
We will give an overview of the latest lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York.
They don't fuck around, y'all. They have like a 90% conviction rate.
Over
if
90.
not higher. Yeah.
Yes. He was sued by producer Rodney Jones, 54, who lived and traveled with Combs in 2022 to 2023 in support of Combs' The Love album, Off the Grid. So some of my sources are... All the links are in our show notes, by the way. Like, it's on our website, but also I think if you swipe the artwork, you should be able to also get them in the episode. So I have a PDF that shows you the lawsuit. The lawsuit is 70 plus pages of horrifying. NBC News, The Guardian, Vulture, Complex, Wikipedia, of course, Rolling Stone, People. There's a person named Mark Curry who worked for Diddy for many, many years, and he has a book called Dancing with the Devil. It came out
damn!
I know. It came out about 10 years ago, and it's juicy, but he is now going out ever since these lawsuits came about. Mm-hmm. I said The Root. There's also some links. There, Surviving Diddy and its Swamp Stories on YouTube. And there's a show on YouTube called The Art of Dialogue, and Mark Curry is a guest. There's another Kimora Lee Simmons story in New York Magazine 2003. This will give you a taste. Mm-hmm. This is when she was married to Russell Simmons, who's a former creep of the show.
Yes.
This is how they described him 20 years ago. Russell's a cultural icon, continues the records industry executive. And in the hip-hop world, it's all about Russell. There was a nasty cloudburst when Kimora said something to Combs, and he threatened to hit her. And I was pregnant, the moron. She's pregnant, and he's threatening to hit her. Combs eventually got down on his knees in public to apologize. She said, I respect him for being a fierce entrepreneur, and I appreciate knowing that everything he does is emulating my husband. Russell Simmons.
Well,
is the
there
husband.
You go. Well, and that's our episode, folks. You find us on all the things.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.
This is from the LA Times. Jones is one of the many things he talks about his lawsuit. He was at Chalice Recording Studios in Los Angeles when a shooting took place September 12th, 2022. And Combs was accused of giving him strict instructions to inform the police that Combs had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G, that's the person that was shot, was standing outside the studio and it was by a drive-by assailant. The man was shot indoors in a bathroom.
Okay.
And there's pictures of the bathroom after the shooting. The person G is a friend of 30-year-old Justin Combs. Justin Combs is one of his sons. And and both of his sons have been on those MTV, spoiled asshole 16 shows, whatever that was called. What was that? My Sweet 16?
Called My Sweet 16. I'm a spoiled asshole this year on MTV. Would watch. No, I wouldn't watch, actually. It would make me insanely angry.
So Diddy he starts out in college and he's working for record producers. He's so good. He's so smart that he basically, he gets Bad Boy Records, which is his own label. And with Bad Boy Records, and this goes back to Mark Curry, who talked about him. And we've talked about the music business before, but let me make things very clear. It's a sleazy business. Before you make money, the record companies charge you for everything, and they overcharge you for everything. Diddy was known for making his artists, like I said, put him in all their videos and put him in, he had to have his voice on everything. If you didn't agree with that, he'd drop you. And then he would spread it out through the industry like you couldn't work. As Sonia said, between like 1995 and 99, in 2010, he was just constantly on MTV. He was the hit maker. You just couldn't get away from him. Trust us. I'll be watching you. That stupid song he did.
It was a tribute song for Biggie.
For Biggie.
And you couldn't get away from that song. And before that, Biggie released his album, but then Biggie was killed. And so all the videos were really then he was known as Puff Daddy, I think then.
Yeah.
So it was like Puff Daddy, Mace, like Faith Evans, like they were like in all the videos. And I mean, those songs are dope. I get it. Like, I like Mo Money, Mo Problems. The song's super catchy. But like, he kind of became the face for Notorious B.I.G. after he was killed.
Yes.
And he then got even more popular because of that.
There was a whole thing where Suge Knight, who was based on the West Coast, also not a great person, but...
No, he's on the list.
He's on the list, but he actually at the... oh, God damn it. Which award show was it?
Oh, it was
Source
the hip-hop.
Awards.
It was the Source Awards. This is super famous.
It's famous because he actually said from the stage, hey, if you want to work for a record producer who's not going to insert himself in all your damn videos, just give me a call. And it was like, whoo! So it's
East Coast, West Coast.
Intensified.
Rivalry. Yes.
Very much intensified. And then there's certain cities like Atlanta and Chicago. It's like, which side do you land on?
Yes.
Combs had just the lock on everything.
Yes.
And people loved to talk to him. And he would do any interview. He would be in documentaries. He was all over the what was the VH1 show, Behind the Music. He's been there about, like, he fashion magazines. He dated J-Lo. I mean,
yes.
High profile life. He puts a lot of effort into things, but there's been a few things that he's super shitty. Here, let's just start with the timeline.
Yeah.
Real quick timeline, and then we'll get to this lawsuit.
Yeah.
The CCNY tragedy of 1991, the City College of New York. This is an event where Combs co-promoted a celebrity basketball game. They were only allowed to have 2,730 people. They sold tickets for about 5,000. 5,000 people showed up. They did not have enough security for this event. So what becomes is a crowd crush. People use the word stampede. It's not a stampede.
Yeah.
It's a crowd crush. And
we've talked about this in other
Yes.
episodes. Yes, this is awful.
And 9 people died and 29 people were injured. And he was found liable because it was inadequate and inexperienced security that was... And so he had to pay out a shitload of lawsuits for the next 10 years. There was the club shooting in New York where he and J-Lo went to a nightclub, and it was once again between Christmas and New Year's. They were there around midnight, and he shows up, and this is where things get... Some people say, oh, there was a metal detector that you had to go through in order to get into the club, and he later brags that he gave the gun to J-Lo to carry with her. Somehow they get into this club. Diddy likes to have his money. He likes to make it rain. So he had about $10,000 in cash on him, all in $100 bills. Yeah. He walks into the club. People notice him, and he wants to get to a certain spot. So he just throws a bunch of money in the air, and there's like this melee. And then people are crashing into each other.
Yes.
And some people are there just to go to the club, and they're not there for the tomfoolery. Like, they just want to hang out and have a drink and listen to music. be in a cool place. I don't need people screaming and chasing each other for dollar bills, whatever.
Yes.
So an argument ensues. Shots are fired.
Oh my
Diddy
God.
and J-Lo leave, and they take off in a different car than from whence they came. It was a whole thing, but in the end, there was a trial, but there was no charges, and he was had 10 years of prison that was supposedly going to happen, but he's like Mr. New York. He's
Right.
Every mayor knows Puff Daddy. All the politicians know him. This is a media center. Everybody knows this guy. And he can make things happen. I wanted to also talk about in 1998. So Nas had a video called Hate Me Now. And I had a friend that would just say that all the time. You can hate me now. You can hate. So annoying. But he was in the video for that with Nas. And he and another person basically dressed as Jesus Christ being crucified with the thorns in the head and shit.
Oh, brother.
And that was an early version of the video. He didn't want it to get out because he thought to himself, maybe that was a bit too much. Maybe I'm just...
What?
So he goes to a music executive's office, a New York City office, the guy that was in charge of sending the video. It was a music executive named Steve Stout or Stoute. It's Stoute or Stoute. He went to the office with a friend. They had a champagne bottle and they beat him with a chair and the champagne bottle. This is the guy at his job because of the video.
What an
Imagine
asshole.
somebody coming to your office and beating this shit. I mean, look, I've had some bosses. I wish some bad things, but...
I mean, I would like to beat the shit out of some people I worked with. But
Yeah.
No.
So the cops declined to give him charges. And he had 1 day of anger management that he had to do.
One whole day.
A whole goddamn day.
Well, there goes $1 million.
There's also,
I make $1 million a day.
yeah.
That cost, yeah.
He's super rich. His sons, they got like $300,000 cars when they were 16. He's got money, but here's another thing he does, and I got this from the Mark Curry book. He made everybody use, once again, the record industry, when you're making a video, you have to pay for it back to the record company before you make money. And this is in the 90s and 2000s where people were selling CDs like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's your second. Nirvana didn't make money till their last record before Kurt Cobain died. And they were famous
bananas.
for it's bananas to think about, but like it does take a long time to get that money back. And when you're working with a Diddy, it's because he says we have to have all these video directors produce your video, and it needs to be on yachts, and it needs to be in the Benz, or it needs to be in the Bentley. And these are all properties, things Diddy owns, and then he rents them out to the record people.
Oh.
And they have to pay him back for his own Benz, and then he makes a tax credit from it. They can't use any other Bentley. They can't use any other director. He would say, like, you have to have this stylist and these clothes. And once again, nobody goes through these invoices to figure out what's real and what's not real.
Right.
You don't get to say, no, we'd like to do something Nirvana style and just be on a stage and do this. No, he wants it flashy. It's flashy. He wants Jesus Christ. He gets Jesus Christ.
Well, it was about promoting a certain kind of
Lifestyle.
image. Yes. And like the idea, like, we're so successful. We're fucking pimps. Look at us rolling in it. We're literally rolling in money. You know, we're in hot tubs drinking champagne and we're on yachts and all. And it's because we're so successful. We're so fucking dope. So it has to look this way. All those videos look the same, by the way. And they were, again, on MTV all the time.
And look, the music's great.
Yeah.
I sing some of those songs to this day, but it is
Hypnotize
lavish.
is a dope song.
Hypnotize is the best song of the 20th century. Debate me. No. It's fantastic. It's also selling the image, like, if you come to my record company,
Yes.
it's going to rain. You're going to be huge and it's going to rain.
You're going to be swimming in pussy and money.
All the drugs you want.
Cristal. Yeah.
Yep. All those brand names. Yeah, that's all a part of the image, and you have no control. And that's like a lot of control that he has over people. And once again, your career, if you're lucky, is maybe 4 or 5 years, if you're really lucky. So you have to like think about how often you tour, how you're going to tour. Are you going to have merch? You know, your videos. Like, do you hire David Fincher? Maybe we get somebody a little cheaper. Maybe we just, whatever. All these things take money. He had control over all of it. So there's a lot of people who thought that they were rich because they sold a lot of CDs. They're in these very fancy videos. He made them feel super famous, and then they make no money.
Got it.
He allegedly punches Drake in 2014 in Miami. That's sort of Drake. Yeah. I'm like, that's like even Steven to me. I could let that one go. In 2015, his son was one of his sons. I'm sorry, was at UCLA football. He was a football coach was trying to tell Combs' son, "You need to behave in a particular." Justin, I don't care who your dad is. This is UCLA. I'm going to treat you just like I treat everyone else. Well, guess how well Puffy took that.
Oh no!
Yeah,
his son is a special little angel.
Basically, he and an associate went and started swinging a kettlebell around at people.
Oh, God.
It's iconic. He does it with style, I have to say. He uses props really in a really interesting way.
Very, very theatrical.
The LA District Attorney decided not to file assault charges against him.
I wonder why.
I wonder why, too. So let's get to, really quick, once again, Cassie. That was his girlfriend for many, many years. Mm-hmm. She came into his life after, I believe, Kim Porter died. Kim Porter was his partner and the mother of 4 of his kids, and she died of pneumonia. And there are people say things, because it's not common for a woman, especially with her wealth and means,
she's younger.
She's much younger, yes.
Yeah.
But it is to say that some people walk around, very sick, and they just keep going and going. And like, pneumonia is no fucking joke, y'all. Like, you have to take care of. True dat. Anyway, Cassie Ventura filed, it said graphic lawsuit. Since 2018, he was abusing her. He was passing her around to friends. And it was a $30 million lawsuit. His attorney, Ben Raffman, by the way, that's a huge name, said, we're going to, we deny everything, deny. They settled the next day. But then
the next day,
very next day, like 4 p.m. on a Friday,
that is
y'all.
Like a fucking record.
Yes.
That's a record. It was like, we're going to shut this shit down so fast, you won't even know it happened. That was the intent.
And with the Me Too movement, there have been people who have been calling to change the laws. Murder is pretty much the only crime that doesn't have a time limit to it. But sexual assault, I think it was like 5 years or something.
Yeah, it was like 5 years. Then it was 7 years.
Right. And this is not, look, I've known women who've gone to the police in New York, even in the era of SVU, and were not taken seriously about rape claims. It's just hard enough to deal with that. How do people who were young deal with that? Sometimes people go through a process before they can even admit that they were a victim of something. It's it's a super fucked up crime is my point. So then we started getting other women starting to file complaints, and there are other women from like Danity Kane, the Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane.
I remember her. Okay.
Because she used to shtup Trump Jr., Donald Trump Jr.
Ew, I don't remember that part.
Oh, yeah, they had sex in a gay nightclub.
Ew.
Right.
Ew to the Donald Trump part, not the gay nightclub. You do. If you want to have sex in a gay nightclub, knock yourself out. But anyone who wants to have
get some poppers, have a great time.
You're fucking gross. That's gross.
Yeah, no. But she wrote in support of Cassie. And all these people are terrified to do anything because, by the way, I've described all these crimes that he's done.
Yes.
And he gets a slap on the wrist, if that.
Yes. Yes, and of course, when all these people come out, what happens? It's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, they're just making a big money grab." Blah,
Money
blah, blah. And
grab
I
is
was
what
like,
they
yes,
say
again,
multiple times.
yes, again, everyone, all women want that sweet rape fame. You know, it's because they see they're not alone.
Right.
That's what it is. It's not. Some people are just trash.
Yeah, and it's also that's internalized misogyny, and it's
Yes.
in all of our culture here, and all the boomers and Gen X and Gen Y. There's a lot
Yeah.
of there's racism, there's misogyny, there's like stuff that's just keeps white men at an elevated level, which they don't want to admit to, and or they don't want to give up. But it also goes down to how you treat women and how we treat children.
Yeah, and there is. I watched a. I'll talk about it when we get to our non-creep too. But I've watched the, like, Ladies First, the documentary about hip hop and women, and a lot of the different, like, female executives and performers talked about culture in, like, the Black community, about, like, not coming after Black men in a public forum. Like, it was better to, like, handle it, I guess, for lack of a better term, internally, because then you're throwing a Black man to the cops, into the legal system that is unfair. So
is a legitimate fear, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. That's a legitimate fear, but at the same time, it also keeps victims being victims.
Yes.
And treated as lesser than.
Yes.
And putting the burden on them to put up with, Sean Combs. No, he grew up in Harlem. His father died when he was in elementary school, and he was told that his father was in a car accident, but it was actually I think he was a drug dealer. It was just like something else that it was more nefarious than that.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, very hardworking, very motivated, and he's also very power hungry. This is not a chill person. This is somebody who wants to be treated a certain way and wants to live a certain way.
Yes.
So the Rodney Jones is our plaintiff, and here it's Sean Combs, Justin Dior Combs, Ethiopia Haber-Mariam, Lucianne Charles Grange, Christina Coram, Chalice Recording Studios, Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group, Combs Global Enterprises, and there's also some John and Jane Does that are mentioned in this. By the way, they want a jury trial. And ABC Corporation. So Rodney Little Rod Jones, he was a person that he grew up in the Chicago area. He was, what's the word I'm thinking of when a kid is, like, super talented? He's
a prodigy.
Thank you. He's a prodigy. He was a music prodigy. It's what he loves. It's what he lives for. So when he gets the chance to work with Diddy on the Brother Love stuff, he was psyched. He was like, this is just what I've been looking for.
Right.
He's also interacting with Justin Dior Combs, his son. I mean, and all these people he tours with him for a little over a year. And his allegations are that there was constant drug use everywhere, that there was talk about women's drinks, their Cristal, being spiked. And it was more popular before the Bill Cosby allegations, more than allegations came out.
Right.
But that was kind of a popular, it's still a popular go-to.
Like, if you want to do drugs, knock yourself out, literally, have a great time. But, like, drugging others...
No, and also
no.
It also forcing people to watch sex acts, which is what he says. There's orgies happening, and there's just people. They hire sex workers, and then they drug them, and then he's alleging that they're passing them around.
Ugh.
And this man is a Christian, and didn't want to do that, and he thought, like, I think I can go on the road with a person. And try this on for size. I just do my job, and then I can just go back to my room and do whatever the fuck I want, read or whatever. Y'all go get high. do what you want. Like,
Yes.
we don't have to be, but it seems like the entire atmosphere is always kind of sexualized and always sort of this element of danger around it. People play with guns, people get high on all sorts of things. Sex workers are brought in and out. Famous friends are brought in and out to enjoy people and enjoy people. I mean, molest people. I mean, rape people that aren't asking for anything.
Right.
He was in a studio when he heard a shooting, and it was in the bathroom of the studio. He went in to check on the person, and he actually put his hands on the gunshot wound and said, "We have to call an ambulance." And people were like, "No, no, no, take him outside." So they took this person outside and they had him lie to the police and to the ambulance. And he has pictures here of the bathroom, the aftermath of the shooting. And then he had some trauma from that.
Yes.
You don't see it every day.
No. And this is one of the things we've talked about in other episodes. Like, we talk about, like, trauma. People are like, whatever. Like, you can, like, blow it off and it doesn't mean anything. Trauma is real.
Yes.
It can, like, this will stay with this man until he dies. The day that he, like, walked into a bathroom and there was blood everywhere, that, like, someone's life was in his hands, he's covering a wound, that's gonna fuck you up. You could pretend that it's, like, nothing, but it's not nothing. And ugh, what a fucking asshole.
Also, Mr. Combs, he alleges he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Combs. And he was told, by the way, by his chief of staff, Christina Cornan, who's known as KK, that that's just Sean being Sean. He's just gonna, he'll walk around naked, or he'll start wrestling with you when he's naked. And that's no big deal.
No.
He might.
Oh, let me guess. He wants a massage.
He doesn't say that. No. He just likes to wrestle and rub himself against people.
Oh, super normal.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
He also talks about other producers that were in on this. He was shown videos of people having sex with other people in a very painful manner, let's just say, and the person appears to be in pain. And he was just shown this stuff. Like, this is cool, right?
This is awful.
He was on Thanksgiving 2022 at Combs' house in Miami, Young Miami, which is one of his Diddy's women friends, colleagues. I mean, it's all kind of a bit. Also, once again, it's like this mishmash. Like, he works with people, he's related to people he works with, or he brings people into his life.
Yes,
and he offered cocaine. Mr. Jones rejects it. He walks to the restroom. And then Young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and started groping him. And then he sent another woman in to sexually assault him, perform sex acts on him, which he didn't want to do. Once again, he said he's a Christian. I really don't want to do this. And here's another kicker, by the way.
They're trying to make him complicit. Like, you did it too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They also took his phone and took lots of photos and images with his phone and basically threatened, like, we're going to publish this. But this also means that he has all of this evidence. And there are tons of pictures in here as evidence.
Yes.
Also,
well, that wasn't their smartest move, now was it?
No. There was booby trap on the river. There was a sex worker at where which is it's just a place. It's like I don't know if it's like a strip joint, but it's called booby trap. It's got to be a strip joint, right?
It's got to be, right?
Right. But there was, like, he took them there and they had sex workers all over the place and he didn't want to deal, and they took all these pictures of these women and they're just, and men. But there's a lot of male sexual assault on other males that he witnessed that had happened to him. One of them was with Cuba Gooding Jr., who showed up and was just basically molesting the guy. They were on a yacht. He has pictures of Cuba, like trying to get to know him, i.e., put his hands in places
Oh my God.
on on these pictures.
Mm.
And there's just, there's just so many pictures, and it's just over and over again of people. And he would say things like, I never get in trouble. I always get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I gave J-Lo the gun and she just took it into the bar. I never got caught. The cops, they'll never do anything to me. I know everybody. I'm in charge.
Well, and he's right to think that way because he has.
Yes.
He has gotten away with all these things. No wonder he thinks that.
Yeah, there's a person, Mr. Muhammad, that whenever he's in trouble, people are instructed in Miami or California to call him because he knows to take care of shit. Like when there's a shooting at your recording
He's
studio.
The cleaner.
He's the cleaner. There's Kristen Koreman is basically, they're calling the Ghislaine Maxwell for Sean Combs. She's a woman that travels with him and procures women for him. And that she is someone who makes all of this easy for him. This is all in the lawsuit.
Gross.
There's just photos of all the different kinds of drugs that were given to people. It's just, I'm trying not to be too gross, but he worked for him. And then he's saying that he's owed money for working on the album, for working with him, and that P. Diddy was like, fuck you, I'm not paying you. Like maybe they had some sort of split up. There's a lot here, you guys. It's like 70 pages of some of those horrifying things I've heard of in a while, and I host a show called
nasty.
What a Creep. Yeah.
Seriously, what a nasty fucking gross man.
There's just, it's a lot of like, sex and sexual violence and lots of drugs, a lot of drinking, a lot of just like hiring sex workers and then thinking you could just do whatever the hell you want, even though it's a human being.
Yeah, you're paying them, so they have to take it.
Right. So that's the latest that's coming out from him. That he was sexually assaulted Thanksgiving of 2022, that he worked with him through 2023. He has a lot of harm from this, emotional anxiety.
I bet.
There's been monetary damages just because he hasn't been able to work, because that's on your resume. Like,
yes,
Sean Combs can make it rain, and he could also bring a drought.
Yes.
He can make it very difficult for you to do what you want to do with your life. And there's a lot of people who loved being in the record business, love making R&B records, hip hop records, but you fall out with him and you have to go back to your skill that you had before you made it famous. And one guy was a carpenter and he's like he said, I love doing it and that's fine. He says, but I just, he just cuts people's lives short based on his whims.
Yes.
So that's the latest from Biggie. Like I said, there's so much with him. And this is, once again, yes, it's all alleged, but this is a hell of a detailed suit. I only gone through the first 50 pages. There's 73.
Yeah.
It's
yuck.
It's a big bucket of yuck. And that's our creep this week.
Good job,
and
friend.
The lawsuit that brought it.
Good job going through all that yucky stuff. Has he issued any kind of statement?
Yes, he has. So let me bring that up. They deny the charges, of course. And this is
he's like,
money grab.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Fucking asshole.
No, let me just look it up real quick. I highlighted it. Oh, it's in my notes. Sorry. In a Tuesday statement, The Times, Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, called Jones a liar and accused him of shamelessly looking for an undeserved payday. Mm-hmm. His reckless name-dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines.
He calling someone else a name dropper. LOL.
The irony, huh?
Yes.
We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls. We will address these outlandish allegations in court, and take all appropriate action against those who make them. So that is where he stands. He's like, "Nuh-uh." I'll see you in
his
court.
lawyer's like, I said good day, sir.
I said good day, sir.
He's so guilty.
It's unbelievable. I look at his like his fashion stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he's super fucking famous. He's
He's so famous.
a
He's
lot
so
of
rich.
power and like fashion and music. He's done acting. He's been acting in a million different things. I
Yes.
mean, he's so many things, and he has so many jobs that could depend on him. And so
Yes.
there's people who just are like, "Oh, he's a little weird. Just let him be freaky. Be
Well,
freaky.
they're-
Just don't
yeah,
hurt
they're-
people."
When your finances are tied to this person, you let a lot of shit slide.
Yes.
And it always fascinates me about all of our creeps, so many of our creeps, I should say, is to make it in this business, in show business, it's like 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not something that, like, it's special. It's special to get there. And for you to just be like,
I deserve it.
willing, well, also just the idea that you're willing to like risk it all for fucking what? To fucking drug people and rape them? Like, really?
He was
Like,
also
and to think that that shit won't come out?
he
The
also
fucking audacity.
the audacity.
Yes.
He also Cindy Roela, she was his personal chef. She filed a lawsuit against him in 2017 claiming sexual harassment and retaliation. He had to wind up settling with that. He had to step down as the chairman of Revolt TV. And Macy's announced in November 2023 that they were pulling Sean John clothing from its department and online stores, effective immediately. BET and Jackson State University refused to acknowledge the allegations against him. Let me look here. Oh, and he had a show with Hulu, and it was going to be a show about his family. It was just going to be a reality series based on Diddy's family.
Yeah, something like a keeping up with the Diddies or some shit like that.
Yeah, yeah. And Hulu was
Hard fucking
hard pass. No, thank you.
They're like, that shit is going to be rated TVMA. You could take it over to fucking Max. Thank you very much. Gross.
Yeah,
He sucks. Fuck this guy.
yeah. It's too bad because I liked his music.
Me too. Total bummer.
It's a bummer, but I'm more about people being treated decently.
Yeah, imagine that. What a fucking creep. Hence the name of the show. Would you like to hear about some people who aren't creeps?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I put together a little list for us, kind of inspired by the Ladies First documentary on Netflix, which if you haven't seen, please go watch. Also, like, hip hop just celebrated like its like 50th anniversary. So there's like all these different documentaries out right now about hip hop. So please like check them out because they're really great. You can even go to the Criterion channel and you could watch things like Beat Street.
Guess who was the
Crush Crew.
choreographer on Beat Street, Sonia?
Who? Tell me.
Lester Wilson.
What? It's like there's so much good stuff. But I've
There
got
is.
a couple of people here that I think are worth shouting out, that how these names aren't like names you hear all the time. I don't know. So one of them is Cindy Campbell. Cindy Campbell was 17, and on August 11th, 1973, she hosted like a back to school party that eventually turned into basically what is called the birth of hip hop. She was the first, like, she threw this huge party. She just wanted to raise money to buy some clothes. That's all it was.
Been there.
And she got her brother, just some dude named DJ Cool Herc, super popular. Like, he spun his records, they did their thing, and it became like this huge like thing, hip hop. It was everywhere. It became really huge. She's also the founder of the Hip Hop Preserve Incorporated. It's a nonprofit organization that is all about preserving hip hop culture. She's working on a health initiative to provide resources to people who work in hip hop. So that's a thing that's happening. I read about Sylvia Robinson. She was the founder of Sugar Hill Records. She released the first rap recording, Rapper's Delight.
I've heard
by
of
the
it.
Sugar Hill Gang. Yes, we've all heard of it. She also signed Funky 4+1, which included MC Shawrock. And she is one of the first female rappers of all time. She produced The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the
Heard of it.
Furious Five. She also co-wrote a song called Love on a Two-Way Street. Do you remember that song?
I found love on a
Yes.
two-way street.
Yes. She's insanely influential. She passed away in 2011. I want to talk about MC Shawrock. So she was in Funky 4+1. They performed on Saturday Night Live in like 1981, I want to say, which made them the first rap hip hop group to perform on TV ever. What else? Who else? Sylvia Rohn. She was the godmother of the music industry. She championed voices like Missy Elliott, MC Light. She's worked with Nicki Minaj. She's 71 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, she started as a secretary at Buddha Records, worked her way up to CEO of Epic Records and chairman CEO of Elektra Entertainment Group. She was the first Black woman in either role. Pretty dope. She's the first woman to lead a Fortune 500 company owned by a record label. Pretty cool.
Wow.
And then I wanted to shout out Roxanne Shante.
Roxanne?
Yeah, Roxanne. The song Roxanne came out, and then she recorded something called Roxanne's Revenge, came out in 1994. She was 14 when this came out, and it is considered like the first like diss track in hip hop, and it was like obviously very popular. And then she went on to kind of join this thing called the Juice Crew, and it was like Big Daddy Kane and Biz Markie and Cool G Rap. And we're seeing like more reemergence of these women, like with the documentaries. I think they're worth checking out, so please check them out. But I thought they are a nice counterbalance, a palate cleanser to gross Puff Daddy.
Thank
so
you.
Check them out.
Thank
this
you,
list
Sonia.
could have been so long.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That's the show today. Please send us your suggestions for creeps and also non-creeps. We really appreciate that. If I mispronounce somebody's name, I am apologizing now. There's just a lot of names to go through.
Says your girl.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, like I said, it's a 70-page document that I was going through. There's so many names and things like that. But the guy's got photos and everything kind of backing up and stuff. Anyway, but please.
Emails, texts, receipts.
We love our reality shows.
We sure do.
Please follow us in all the places that I mentioned at the top of the show. That's another place where you can send us your suggestions. We love it when you use the Annie Potts GIF. We got one from Ghostbusters, or just do something on your own. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. If you would like some stickers, just send us your address and we will drop them in the mail for you. We will not spam you with anything. We don't do that shit.
We don't do that. We don't sell email addresses.
Right.
Nothing like that.
Nothing.
The only thing you'll get from us are stickers and a holiday card.
Yep.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. All right. Sonia, where can they find you?
Oh, yes. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Well, no, don't go to Facebook because, again, I only go to our group. Blue Sky. You can find me on TikTok. And if you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host a podcast called Dorking Out where we talk about movies. And this week, funny you should mention Cuba Gooding Jr. because we are talking about Jerry Maguire from 1996 with our good friend Adam Risky from F This Movie. It's always super fun when Adam comes on, and I can't wait to rewatch this movie because I just have a lot of thoughts about how I think it's going to play.
I have a lot of thoughts about Cameron Crowe movies in general, like good and all over the place. He takes risks. I will say that he is just kind of going for a thing. We didn't know about Cuba Gooding Jr. We knew about some stuff that he was already been in trouble for, and he's got a lot of shit to answer for. But it was just sort of an accident.
This was unrelated,
completely unrelated. You can find me at Brooklyn Margot on Twitter, on TikTok. My site is called Brooklyn Fit Chick, and that's where I am for Instagram and Threads as well. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for checking out our show. Be good, be kind, be safe. Don't be a creep.
Be a creep.
Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.